Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Jessica Malazzo. I'm with Healthy Homestead Hostess. I'm a certified integrative nutrition health coach who loves to cook and educate others on nutrition. Tonight we're making a chocolate almond butter cup smoothie and some homemade almond milk. So I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to come on and then we'll get started. So I see some people coming on, welcome. I'm just going to give everyone like another minute so people have time to come on and then we'll get started. We are making a homemade almond milk and chocolate almond butter cup smoothie, which is delicious and one of my faves. So I'll be back in a couple of seconds, if not a minute, and then we'll get started and we'll start making some almond milk. All right, so I see we have a few people joining us. I guess we'll get started. So this is my first Facebook Live with Mastic Merch's library, so I'm really excited to be here tonight. My name is Jessica Malazzo. I'm a certified integrative nutrition health coach who loves to cook and also educate others on nutrition and living a healthy lifestyle. So we're gonna do this in about a half hour tonight. First, if you want to leave any comments, if you have any questions, feel free to just write them in the comments below and I will make sure to answer them throughout the video or after if I ever miss something. And then also you don't have to write down the recipe. I'm going to be posting the recipe for both the homemade almond milk and then also the smoothie recipe in the comments as well, so you could refer back to them, or you could of course always rewatch the video. So we're gonna get started. We're making our own almond milk, so it's really easy. You only need a few ingredients, and this doesn't mean that you have to make your own almond milk in order to make your own smoothies, but I'm just showing you how you could quickly do both. And you're using the same blender, so you're only cleaning it once. I love recipes where I could kind of cook twice, get a few meals out of it, and only clean once, because who wants to do unnecessary dishes? So for the almond milk, we're gonna start with water. So I have some filtered water here. And then the ingredients are simple. We're using cinnamon, so I have organic cinnamon. For my sweetener is gonna be just some organic dates. So I just have 2 organic dates here. You could also use honey if you want for a sweetener, or a little maple syrup, or you could just omit it. I do like to add the dates, and I also add some Himalayan pink salt, and it acts as a preservative. And then we're gonna add in some vanilla extract. So if you don't like vanilla, you could use almond extract. You could even try peppermint extract if you wanted to get, you know, a little daring for the holidays. And then we have our almonds. So you do need to soak your almonds overnight. You could also leave them in the fridge for a few days. So I have a cup of raw almonds. You want to make sure that there's no added oils, there's no added salt, they're completely just raw almonds. So it's a cup of raw almonds, and you could put them in a mason jar like I have here, or a bowl, and just cover them with water. We're gonna let them sit overnight. So these were in the fridge since last night. And then we're gonna drain them. So a lot of questions that I get are like, why won't you use the water that the almonds are in? And the reason why is because there's lectins in the water, which are often more difficult for people to digest. So we want to take our almonds and we want to just rinse them off. So we're gonna rinse them first, and you'll see how easy this is. All right, and you know, if you don't like almonds, you could do this with oats. You could also do this with walnuts, pecans, cashews. So any type of nut you would like. If you didn't or you forgot to soak Oats you don't need to soak. So those are a really quick way to make a non-dairy milk. And then also nuts that are softer, such as a pistachio nut, you wouldn't need to soak either. But again, the reason why I love to make my almond milk is it really is quick. Once you get the hang of it, it goes by really fast. It only takes a few minutes. And then also, I know the ingredients that are in my almond milk. So with the non-dairy milks becoming more and more popular, there are more and more ingredients added to those. So there's thickening agents, there's also more preservatives. So things that we might not necessarily want to ingest, but of course there are better brands out there now that only, contain clean ingredients such as the almonds, water, cinnamon, and things like that, but they are more costly. So, for a quart of almond milk, making it at home costs us a little more than $2. So it's really inexpensive. I get my nuts in bulk at Costco, so that's a great option. And then really you're using things that you don't need a lot of. So the cinnamon, the vanilla extract, the dates, those you could all get at Costco as well. So health food or healthier food is becoming more common and less expensive if you could find it in a store such as Costco or BJ's or even like a Lidl and Aldi and things like that. So I won't bore you any longer. We'll get started with our almond milk. So I have a blender over here. You could really use any type of blender. And to this, we're gonna add 4 cups of water. I'm just gonna make sure you can see. So again, I just have filtered water. Doesn't have to be perfect. I've also had a few clients that hate almond milk or store-bought almond milk, and then they try homemade and they're blown away with the difference in flavor. A lot of store-bought almond milks are mainly water as well, so they're really watery. They don't have much flavor, so when you try this, it's full of flavor and you can really taste that almond flavor. And then I love the hint of sweetness from the dates and the cinnamon and the vanilla extract. You could also play around with your ratio of almonds. So again, I'm using a cup of raw almonds, but you could try a half a cup. Once they're soaking in water, you're obviously they expand and get larger. So we're putting all of the almonds to the 4 cups of water. And then we're gonna take 2 dates. You just wanna make sure that you pit your dates. Again, you could omit it if you don't want any sugar, but we're gonna be extracting the dates out, so there's not a lot of sugar added to the almond milk, and you could use honey or a little maple syrup as well. The one thing about homemade almond milk is that it lasts about a week in the fridge. So that would be a shorter shelf life than a store-bought one. You can freeze it, so say you don't use as much almond milk as you think, you could freeze it in like little mason jars or soup containers, something like that. All right, and then I'm gonna give you all the measurements, but I really kind of eye it now. And this is one of those things that I love to make, depending on if you have time and a meal prep day. I love to do it on Sunday. So if I'm making breakfast, I also will make some almond milk and then smoothies. So again, I'm prepping for 2 different things and only cleaning once. So we're adding about a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and you could use almond extract, and then just a pinch of salt. So you could use pink Himalayan salt, which I have here. I really love pink Himalayan salt. You could also use a sea salt as well. So again, this acts as a natural preservative, so it does last longer in the fridge. But again, it lasts up to a week for the most part. And we're going to be using 2 cups in the smoothies. So really in 2 smoothies, we're using half of the almond milk that we're using. And you could adjust those ratios as well. I'll show you. So now I have all the ingredients in my blender. So it's a cup of almonds, 2 dates pitted. We're doing cinnamon, vanilla extract, and a pinch of pink Himalayan salt. Again, anyone that's coming on board, I will post the recipe so you don't have to remember all this. And we're just gonna blend it until it's smooth. that's blended enough so you can see it turned white just like almond milk. Now we're gonna wanna strain it because we don't want the clumps of almonds and dates in our almond milk. We want it to be really smooth. So I have what is called a nut bag. Some people use cheesecloth. This is a reusable, they do call it a nut bag. You could buy it on Amazon, and I've seen it in most grocery stores now too, like a Whole Foods or a Cornucopia if anyone's there. But you can find them online and they're really great. So they're completely washable. I've had mine for years and it hasn't ripped. So I strongly recommend getting one if you do want to make your own nut milks at home. And they only cost probably about $6 to $8. So not too expensive at all. And I have just a clean bowl that we're going to strain the almond milk in. Another thing that someone told me, but I haven't tried yet, is that if you didn't soak your almonds, you could also use almond butter in with water and your seasonings as well to make a homemade almond milk. So, I mean, that's how much simpler can you get, but I have not tried it, so I can't say how it tastes. Another thing too is if you like coconut milk, you could buy canned unsweetened coconut milk and add it to your blender and add about 4 cups of water as well. And that's going to make coconut milk for you. So really simple that you don't even need to worry about soaking nuts or anything like that. So we're going to strain this. This is also great if you have kids or need maybe an extra workout, but this is kind of the fun part. So we're going to pour all of the almond milk mixture into my bag, and you're going to see it strain right out. We are going to have to get into it and squeeze out all the liquid, but you can see that it's starting to strain. All right, so we got everything in here, including the dates. And again, no need to wash this because we're going to be making our smoothies right after. So you can see, again, this is great if you have kids. Sometimes this is faster than having to go to the store if you don't want to go to the store. And I strongly recommend you trying it at least once because it really does taste different than what you find in the store. It's so much more flavorful. You'll see kind of like the foam, it's thicker. So we're just gonna squeeze it until all the liquid is out. And then we're going to be left with pulp. So what can you do with the pulp? You could save this and add it to your smoothie as, you know, some protein because it's just really crushed up nuts. You could also put it in baked goods. So there's a recipe to make a bread. You can make, I've used cookies. So it's going to be a lot more moist than say an almond flour because an almond flour is flour and it's dried out. And of course it's made from almonds. This is going to be more wet. You could dry it out for a few days in your fridge. That's an option, but I wouldn't waste it. If you have chickens, I have some chickens and they eat it. They love it. You could even compost it, I guess, if you wanted to. So definitely don't throw it out. Like I said, I've used it in a bread. I've used it in, you know, healthier cookies or muffins, things like that. You could also, if you had a dehydrator, you could put it in the dehydrator and it will crisp up almost like a granola. You could probably do that in the oven as well, but it might take a really, really long time. So I wouldn't necessarily suggest that, but if you have a dehydrator, that would be a great option as well. So you could see, we pretty much, there's a lot of squeezing, so this is your workout. So we got pretty much everything out, and I'm just gonna get a bowl so I could show you what the pulp looks like. And that's it. So really in a matter of what, 10, 15 minutes, we made almond milk, and it goes faster as you make it, you know, more, and you kind of are used to making it. So you can see that the pulp is really, really fine, but it is going to be very moist. So if you make cookies, they're going to be really, really moist cookies. Or a bread, it's just going to take longer in the oven. And you can, it's so fine, you could add this into your smoothie as well. All right, and then I'm going to show you the finished product. So I just keep it in a container like this. It has a spout, it's really easy. And these I would recommend. The brand is T-A-K-E-Y-A. I'd originally gotten them at Costco and they haven't had them since. But I did find some more online. They're really great. They never leak. They're plastic, but they're BPA free. And this is a smaller container. And then they have a larger one as well. So this is a quart of almond milk, which is about 4 cups. And then you'll notice too, your almond milk, if you keep it in the fridge, it will separate. So you just want to shake it before you start to drink it or add it into your coffee or your tea, whatever you're drinking. But the separation is completely normal. You just have to shake and it's good as new. All right. Now, and then another tip, if you don't want to do dishes, say you're going to make there's a nut pulp bread recipe. If anybody wants it, I'm more than happy to share it with you as well. You can make the nut pulp bread in the same bowl. So again, you don't have to do as many dishes. But for now, I'm going to leave it to the side. So here we go. So we have our almond milk. We're going to use this as our base to our smoothie. And this is one of my favorite smoothies. So it's an almond butter cup smoothie. We're using bananas today. Some quick tips to make your smoothies more nutritious would be limit to 1 serving of fruit. So you want to make sure that you're not having a smoothie that just contains sugar. I have many clients that will just add in bananas, mangoes, like any type of fruit. And it's not to say fruit's bad, but you do want to be conscious of how much sugar that you're adding, even though it's natural sugar. So I like to say limit 1 serving. So that would be 1 banana or a cup of blueberries or raspberries or strawberries. You could do mango. Obviously, fruits such as bananas and mangoes are higher in natural sugar. And then you want to mix it with some protein and some fiber to make sure that it's going to help you stay fuller longer. I also love adding greens into my smoothie. So spinach is a great option, or mixed greens, whatever you have on hand. You could do kale, and you kind of work your way up. So you could do a handful and then you could do 2 handfuls. But really you don't taste it, or at least I don't taste it. This smoothie that we're going to be making has no added sugar. So the sugar is just coming from the fruit. And your taste buds, everybody's taste buds are going to be very different. Some people might have more sugar in their diet, so the smoothie's going to not be as sweet as they would like, and that's okay. I always recommend not adding any additional sugar. Make sure if you're adding bananas that they're really ripe. You could even have them be more ripe than this because they would be naturally sweeter. Or if you really find that you need something sweet in it, you could add a little, like a teaspoon of honey or a teaspoon of maple syrup. So try to stick to those sugars that are more natural and less processed. So let's get started. I have my blender again. We didn't clean it. We're gonna add in 2 cups of our almond milk that we just made. And then I'm gonna get some spinach. So you don't have to add spinach, but again, if you could add greens or vegetables to every single meal, I would highly recommend. I always encourage everyone to incorporate more vegetables into their diet because most of us are not eating enough vegetables, and our vegetables are coming from either canned vegetables or things like pizza sauce. So if you're willing to try, add some spinach. So I'm gonna go get it. So again, I just have spinach, it's pre-washed. It's organic from Costco. I really don't measure it. I kind of just put in a good size handful, but if you're new to adding vegetables into your smoothie, then start small. But I think the most important thing is to, make that first step in just trying some greens into your smoothie. You could also add things such as cauliflower rice into your smoothie. So there's many different ways that you could get added vegetables into your diet and also added vegetables into your smoothie. Smoothies, I love them if I'm on the go. So if you need a meal replacement, if you're on the go or don't have time to sit down and actually have a meal, smoothies are great to have on hand because they could be full of nutrition, protein, fiber, some vegetables, natural sugar. So for many of us, if we have them available in our fridge, that would be a better option than maybe something else that we might choose, such as chips or cookies or things like that when we get really hungry. And the smoothies you can really customize to whether or not you want to use it as a snack or if you want to use it as a meal replacement for breakfast or lunch. So I like to just blend up my spinach a little bit first, just to puree it. So it's just to start incorporating it. You could also use water for this if you don't have almond milk or a non-dairy milk, or maybe you want to use dairy milk. So don't feel like you need to have a non-dairy milk or a regular milk to make this. You could definitely use it with water too. It just gives it a little different consistency and then also flavoring. So I'm going to add in 2 bananas. So again, this is 2 cups of almond milk. I did a huge handful of spinach, and then we're going to do 2 bananas. And this is making 2 smoothies. So also something to note that I love making at least 2 at a time because they do last for about 2 to 3 days in the fridge. You could also freeze these as well. So I prefer to meal prep these at night. And then this way they're kind of a grab and go for the next morning and then for the following day as well. You could also, what else was I gonna say? You could freeze them, or if you're making them for you and your husband, or you and a friend, or you and your kids. So, just make at least 2 smoothies at a time just to maximize the amount that you're making and, utilizing your time. So our next ingredient is going to be chia seeds. I'm not sure if anyone has seen these. These are actually at Costco as well. You can find them in most grocery stores, Trader Joe's, probably BJ's. A lot of places have them. So these are full of fiber. These are going to also help make your smoothie really thick and creamy, which I love. So depending on how thick you like it, whether or not you want to drink it with a straw, or maybe you want to eat it with a spoon, you can add more chia seeds. So again, great for your omega-3s, calcium, there's some iron in it, fiber. They're really, really good to add. So I'm going to do a tablespoon of chia seeds. And again, if you want it thicker, then definitely use 2 tablespoons. The best part is overnight, the smoothies begin to thicken. So you can, if you have time now and you want to drink your smoothie right away, that's completely fine as well. It might not be as thick. And then also, if you wanted to drink your smoothie right away, you might want to add in a little ice. This way it gives it, a cold smoothie if you want a colder smoothie. I don't add any ice because I'm going to have these sit overnight, and this way they get really nice and cold in the fridge and also thicken up. So I'm going to add in some cinnamon too. I love cinnamon. And smoothies are really a great way to make them your own. So if you don't like an ingredient, you just omit it. If you want more of a chocolate flavor, then you add more of the cacao powder. So cacao powder is going to be our next ingredient. So I have it here. Terrasol is just the brand that I'm using. tonight, but there's many, many other brands of cacao powder. So what's the difference of cacao powder versus cocoa powder? So cacao powder is the raw form of chocolate. It has not been heated, whereas cocoa powder has been processed. It has been heated. So organic cacao powder has magnesium in it. It's an antioxidant. And for me, who doesn't like chocolate? This smoothie kind of satisfies my sweet tooth. So even if you feel like you need something sweet during the day, or even as a dessert, you could definitely have some of this smoothie as well. So we're gonna add 3 tablespoons. I'm doing heaping tablespoons because, again, I love the cacao powder. All right, so we did 3 tablespoons of cacao powder. Now I'm gonna add in my almond butter. So I just have almond butter. You could use peanut butter, sunflower seed butter, any type of nut butter you would like. I really like almond butter in this, but I do love peanut butter as well. I just, again, strongly suggest that you read your ingredient labels. So in this is again from Costco, there's just roasted almonds. So make sure that your nut butters don't contain added sugar. There's no need for added oils in there as well. So again, just make sure that you're reading your ingredient labels. And this is kind of where I would differ from a snack versus a meal. So 2 tablespoons is 210 calories. So that would be for a meal replacement. But say I was going to have this as a snack, I would just do 1 tablespoon per smoothie. So just something to note, because you do want to be conscious if it is a snack that you're not adding in, say 400 calories just for a snack. So I'm going to drink this tomorrow, and it's going to be a meal replacement. So I'm going to add in a total of 4 tablespoons, so 2 tablespoons for each smoothie. Okay, so 1 more. Just get a spatula. All right, so kind of just to recap, we have our almond milk in here, we have spinach, we have bananas, raw cacao powder, cinnamon, chia seeds, the almond butter, and that is pretty much it. So at this point, we're gonna blend it through and be done with this smoothie. There's so many other combinations of smoothies. If you like something a little less indulgent, you could do more of like a berry smoothie. So I've been doing just filtered water, blueberries, cilantro, believe it or not, which cilantro helps remove toxins from your body. And I think that was, and a banana. So, there's so many different options, and you really play with it based on what flavorings you like and really enjoy, and then alter it. So we're gonna mix this up so it's well blended. Everything's well blended. This is the time that I would taste your smoothie. So I've made bad smoothies, I'm not gonna lie, and I haven't tasted them before I serve them. So I like to just get a spoon, and honestly I feel like smoothies taste better as they sit, but you could kind of get an idea for flavoring, and especially, where can you go wrong with a smoothie? Adding maybe too many greens, then it's not as sweet. So that is really good. So again, there's no added sugar. The sugar's coming from the bananas, which there's 1 banana per serving. And I taste the almond butter. I taste the raw cacao powder. So it's really, really good. And then I'm gonna pour them in. So you could use whatever type of jar you have. I love mason jars. For me, they're really durable, they're convenient, they're easy to keep in the fridge, and they're easy to bring on the go. So I have wide mouth. These are the pints, but you could use regular. I just didn't have any on hand because they're all in the dishwasher. So I just want you to see. And then you could see the consistency. So it's already pretty thick. It's going to thicken overnight, like I said. You know, some other options would be adding avocado. Avocado's a great source of potassium and a healthy fat. It also will thicken your smoothie really nice as well. So we have 2 large smoothies, and we have a little bit left over here, which I always like to then drink as of now. But does anyone have any questions? And then, so these are our 2 smoothies. You could see, super easy. I'm going to post both recipes, so don't worry, and I hope you'll try them. So with the mason jars, you just put the cap on. We're gonna put them in the fridge, and now we have 2 smoothies. You know, this blender is large enough to make 4 cups worth, so you could technically make 4 smoothies if you wanted to have them. You know, I would also just be aware of when you make your almond milk, because so say you're using your almond milk like on day 7, but you're not going to drink your smoothie for 2 days, it might not taste that great and it might go bad. So just be aware of that the almond milk lasts about 7 days. Smoothies typically last about 2 to 3 days in your refrigerator. Also a great option is to freeze your bananas, freeze, you know, any fruit that's in season. So we're coming off of summer, but when fruit was less expensive over the summer, you could always buy it and then freeze it. You could also freeze like kale, so you always have kale on hand. But Costco's also great where they have frozen fruits, and also the frozen vegetables, like if you wanted to try cauliflower rice in your smoothies, which are great as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. It was my pleasure to be here, and I hope you enjoyed making the homemade almond milk and then also the smoothies. I'm gonna post this recipe right after this, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them below and I will make sure to go through them and answer them. But really, really simple, and you know, in order to be healthy and to eat healthier, it does require some amount of prep. But as you can see here, or hopefully you saw tonight, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. It could be really simple. This is something that you can make while you're making dinner or breakfast or lunch or wherever you have time. But what's really helpful is committing to a few hours or even an hour or a half hour, whatever time you have a week, just to adding more healthy meals into your diet and having healthier things on hand. So that's incorporating cutting up fresh fruits and vegetables and having them already washed and in your fridge as well. So I hope you'll try this smoothie. It's really delicious. And again, if this is not sweet enough for you, add in a little honey or maple syrup. Just start little, start with a half a teaspoon and then work your way up. And I think you would be surprised at how less of amount of sugar that you really need to add into your meals. And again, this is gonna be breakfast, so you really don't wanna add sugar in, especially in your breakfast. But I hope you all enjoyed tonight. Thank you so much for spending tonight with me, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon. So enjoy the rest of your week. I will post these recipes for you to try and let me know how it goes. So happy smoothie making and almond milk, and have a great night. Bye-bye.